On News Hour tonight, INEC recognizes David Mark-led ADC leadership as Commission warns against early campaigns. Women Affairs Minister faces calls for resignation over staff welfare. EFCC grills Mele Kadi over alleged financial misconduct. On the foreign scene, support grows in Uganda for ICC action against rebel leader Kony. Hello and welcome to News Hour on Trust TV. I'm Muhammad Kudu Abubakar. The chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, has raised concerns over the growing trend of premature political campaigns across the country, describing it as direct violation of Nigeria's electoral laws and a threat to democratic governance. Speaking at a one-day roundtable on the challenges of early political campaigns held at the Electoral Institute in Abuja on Wednesday, Professor Yakubu highlighted what he described as disturbing trends of political campaigning ahead of scheduled timeliness, especially in relation to upcoming off-cycle governorship elections, the Federal Capital Territory Area Council elections, and the 2027 general elections. He referenced Section 94, Subsection 1 of the Electoral Act 2022, which clearly prohibits the commencement of campaigns earlier than 150 days before polling day, and requires all campaign activities to end 24 hours before voting begins.
The purpose is to discuss the disturbing trend in the conduct of public elections, whether they are off-cycle governorship elections, the area council elections in the Federal Capital Territory, or the 2027 general elections, where parties and candidates engage in campaign long before the period earmarked for such activity under the law. Professor Zuru has referred us to the provision of Section 94(1) of the Electoral Act 2022, which prohibits the commencement of campaign earlier than 150 days, that is 5 months before polling day, and must end 24 hours prior to that day. The idea is to prioritize governance over electioneering from one electoral cycle to another. However, political parties, candidates, and their supporters seem to be perpetually in election mode in Nigeria, even when the Electoral Commission is yet to release the timetable and schedule of activities for elections, or ahead of the time frame provided by law. Around the country, we have seen outdoor advertising, media campaigns, and even rallies promoting various political parties and candidates. These actions and activities undermine the Commission's ability to track campaign finance limits, as politicians, prospective candidates, and third-party agents expend large amounts of money that cannot be effectively monitored before the official commencement of campaigns.
Still on INEC, the Independent National Electoral Commission INEC has officially recognized the new leadership of the opposition African Democratic Congress, ADC, led by former Senate President David Bonaventure Mark as national chairman. In a change to the party's particulars on its website on Wednesday in Abuja, INEC listed the new executive members of the party, confirming the resolution of months of leadership tussles within the ADC. According to the Commission, the newly recognized National Working Committee of the ADC is led by David Mark as national chairman, while former Osun State Governor Ogbeni Rauf Oregbeshola is named as the national secretary. Others include Mani Ibrahim Ahmad as national treasurer, Akibu Dalhatu as national financial secretary, and former Edo State Governor Osareme Alabatu Osumbo as the national legal advisor. The development is expected to reposition the party ahead of the 2027 general elections, with stakeholders expressing optimism that new leadership will provide stability and a clear direction for the ADC. INEC recognition of David Mark-led ADC leadership, and well, we're still on INEC's recognition of David Mark's recognition of David Mark as the national chairman of the ADC. And joining me is a political analyst, Jide Ojo, to put context to this development. Jide Ojo, welcome to News Hour on Trust TV.
It's my pleasure. Kudu Abaka, how are you?
Thank you. What do you make of this formal recognition and confirmation by INEC of the new leadership of ADC?
I think it's a welcome development after months of bickering and back and forth. I think that gives the official seal to the coalition membership of the African Democratic Congress. And I think they are good to go with all their scheduled activities, for instance, recruitment of new members, holding of congresses and convention before primaries will come up next year. Now, those who have been recognized are now the drivers, the coalition, and whatever action and decisions they take will be legal and legitimate. At least the regulator and registrar of the political party has endorsed the takeover or the transition, as I want to call it.
Well, when they say stakeholders are expressing optimism that the new leadership will provide stability and clear direction, what do they really mean?
Like I explained, clear direction means INEC now have people it can work with, it can hold to account, it can relate with. There are a number of activities that will be coming up in the lead up to off-cycle governorship elections, 3 of them that will be held ahead of 2027. We have November election in Anambra. There will be Osun and Ekiti governorship election next year. Peradventure, there will be other by-elections and court-ordered elections. So now INEC can relate officially with this new crop of leaders of the ADC. And that has put an end to speculations about whether the coalition had the reins of power in a legitimate and recognizable manner.
Yeah, as a political analyst, what's your take on the INEC chairman's warning on political parties now breaching the law, so to say, with respect to early campaigns? What exactly do you think INEC can do to parties that are found wanting in this regard?
For me, I think what INEC can do, given the law, which has not been able to, the lacuna that the INEC chairman alluded to, what can be done is what it has done. It has drawn attention to it, and I think, given the fact that it relates robustly with Inter-Party Advisory Council, it is also to officially write to those parties whose candidate or whose aspirants are already flouting the law to desist. The only thing is that INEC does not have the administrative power to impose fine or to impose sanction, because the law is very silent. For instance, now, Mohammed Kudu Abubakar, the law says the campaign, public campaign will start officially after 1, INEC has released the timetable for election, 2, 150 days to the election. All that is being done now is just sheer waste of resources. And INEC can only call them to order, but does not have the power to impose that fine, because there is a lacuna in that law. They will tell you, look, officially INEC has not blown the whistle. There is no timetable, so we are not infracting on any law. But what I would suggest more is that INEC also need to communicate with the advertising regulatory agencies, APCON and ACON, that they should stop to take adverts from politicians who are infringing on the law. Because most of these adverts are open door outdoor advertising. And there are regulatory bodies responsible for regulating outdoor advertising, whether it's electronic or billboard. And so they should also tell their members. They have member registered with ACON and ATCON. That's the Advertising Registration Council or Advertising Practitioner Council. They are to tell their members, this is not a brief you can take. This is not a job you can take. It is infringing on the law. Then the third point I need to stress is that why do these people waste so much resources on something that will not come eventually for them? It's 2 years to election. You are spending huge sums of money, billions of naira, to do outdoor advertising when there is no election in sight, when you are still going to wait additional 2 years. Of course, the major culprit here is the third-party agents. Usually, the people who do this advert are not directly the aspirant or the candidate, because we don't even have a candidate for 2027 yet. They are all aspiring. I was on my way to Nasarawa the other day. I saw some of the aspirants also putting up billboard about the aspiration and all of that. Why do you want to spend so much resources when there is no election in sight and you can burn out ahead of election? Why not us burn these resources and use it more effectively when election is near? So the major culprits here are the third-party financier, people who possibly got contracts from government, people who have benefited from government, and it's all cut across, depending on which party is ruling a particular state. The ones in Abuja, we can see the president's picture and the so-called support group. But if you go to some other states where it's the opposition that is leading or that is ruling, you also see those who are contesting for second term having their pictures, and all you see underneath is this so support group. Yeah. These are faceless groups. They are faceless groups, and they are not recognized by all.
Jide Ojo, let me have your attention. If you say the law is silent or the provisions are not very clear with respect to the power that INEC has, will you advocate for a situation whereby the National Assembly can amend some of these provisions so that the culprits or the beneficial culprits, this time the candidates, can be disqualified at the right time? If they are found,
sincerely, my brother, I've worked in this field for decades. The issue is that it's a sticky issue with third-party financing in campaign finance. Third party is not recognized. There is no recognition for third party, except you want to now amend the law to capture that. As INEC chairman has said, INEC has the capacity and INEC is expected to track campaign finance. But if you look at the law says you track campaign finance from the time the campaign has started, from the time candidates have emerged. There are no candidates yet, Kudu Abaka. None of them are aspirants, including President Bola Tinubu. They are all aspirants. And the law does not track campaign finance of aspirant. It tracks that of candidate. And there's a world of difference between an aspirant and a candidate. Until they emerge as candidate, that's when you start to track their campaign finance.
Thank you so much, Jide Ojo, for your insights. Jide Ojo is political analyst and a public affairs person who is regular on Trust TV. Moving on, the wave of dissatisfaction in Nigeria's civil service is growing, with workers openly protesting against poor welfare and unpaid entitlements. On Wednesday, angry staff of the Federal Ministry of Women Affairs blocked the ministry's headquarters in Abuja, demanding the resignation of Minister Iman Ibrahim over alleged negligence. Trust TV's 10th Azal reports.
The protest, which crippled activities at the ministry, stemmed from months of unpaid allowances and worsening welfare conditions. Chanting solidarity songs, the workers accused the minister of indifference and neglect, saying she has failed to meet or address their concerns since assuming office.
We are not running an authoritarian government. There's nowhere she was the one that called for this meeting. Unfortunately, we're here since 9 o'clock. But up to now, she refused to answer us. She refused to listen to us. And we have been clamoring for change. These are issues that keep reoccurring all this while. So, but she claimed that we should come for meeting, which we are here today. Unfortunately, she could not answer us. And there's no way you expect us to go home.
One of the protesters said the minister has never cared to address her staff, describing the silence as a sign of disrespect and disregard for their plight.
She's an appointee of Mr. President. She's a brother of our vote. This woman, she resumed office. She has never addressed the staff. What is the meaning of democracy? Access to your leader. What is the meaning of democracy? Equal distribution of wealth. Democratization of values. We have enjoyed this woman.
A widow among the demonstrators lamented the hardship she faces, saying poor welfare and lack of basic office equipment makes it difficult to survive or perform her duties.
Ever since the minister has came to this ministry, he has never had a day to talk to us. As I am like this, I'm a widow. There was a time I needed my minister to stand by me, to fight for me, but he was not there. I could not see her. Everything that we are going through in this ministry, our work that we are supposed to work in the ministry, is taking it outside. No working material, all the professional works, he's taking it outside. He came in with everything, all his staffs. We don't have anything. We only live with our salaries. Even welfare, we can't even get anyone. Tell me, with no working materials, our staffs are supposed to write exams. They have not written their exams, promotion exams. That's for the professionals. But we are still here, coming to work every blessed day. But the minister has never, as a mother, she called herself a mother. I'm a widow of how many children? My husband is up to a year. I know what I passed through. I have a minister like this and she could not fight for me. And he's going outside fighting for others. I know what I passed through.
The demonstration adds to the growing unease across ministries and parastatals, where workers complain of neglect, delayed salaries, and poor working conditions. For many, the protest at Women Affairs is only a reflection of the larger frustrations brewing within Nigeria's civil service.
In a related development, the president of the National Association of Resident Doctors, Osundare Zenith, has disclosed that members of the union will shut down public hospitals nationwide from Thursday. According to him, members of the association will embark on the action over poor working conditions, shortage of power, downgrading of certificates, poor remuneration, and other reasons. Zenith on Wednesday said the strike is also in solidarity with resident doctors in Abuja and Oyo State who are currently on strike. According to him, the resident doctors will have to take the decision after its 10-day ultimatum to the federal government fell on deaf ears. The resident doctors FCT chapter shut down public hospitals in Abuja on Monday after declaring a 7-day working strike. Staff of the National Meteorological Development Center, NMDC, on Wednesday shut down the agency's headquarters in Jos, accusing management of misappropriation of funds, abuse of office, and gross violations of public service rules and the Procurement Act and other financial regulations. The protesting workers under the Unions of Academic Staff Union of Research Institutes, Non-Academic Staff Union, NASU, and the Senior Staff Association of Teaching Hospitals, Research and Allied Institutions also accused the Director General Linus Okon Asuko of poor welfare practices, intimidation, and neglect of staff concerns. The report.
No retreat, no surrender.
The protesters stormed the headquarters carrying placards with inscriptions such as Asuko must go, stop victimization in NMDC, and NMDC needs change of leadership. Union leaders appealed to President Bola Tinubu and the Minister of Steel Development, Prince Shuaibu Abubakar Audu, to intervene, warning that the agency risks collapse due to corruption and non-functional equipment under the current leadership.
The staff are protesting, are not happy over the situation in the center. They're not happy over the lack of welfare in the system. They're not happy over the gross misappropriation and corruption of the leadership of the center, headed by Professor Lens Asuko.
We have been talking, we have been writing to the chief executive about the unpleasant situation we find ourselves in this organization. Over the years, in fact, I can categorically tell you that NMDC is dead. But we as a union, we cannot allow NMDC to be buried. Rather, we will fight and make sure that NMDC is regenerated.
Contracts were awarded, paid in full, and were never executed. And that matter came up in 2023, September of 2023. Believe you me, up to today, nothing has been done. What do we receive for asking for accountability is harassment, victimization. In fact, National Assembly Committee came in September of 2024. I made mention of these corruption allegations against the chief executive. What did I get? Harassment. That is the reason why the staffs have made up their minds and they have said that the protests will continue until the ministry do the needful. We are tired. This man is here. He keeps harassing our staff. And the center is completely gone.
We have been witnessing victimization, corruption in so many affairs in the center. And it will be worthy of note to know that for some time now that we have been in the center, we have been suffering a lot of intimidation by our chief executive.
When contacted, the Director General, Linus Asuko, did not respond to calls or text messages. However, the agency's spokesperson, Soni Iwema, confirmed that relevant authorities are already investigating earlier allegations against the DG. He added that the latest protest was triggered by the removal of an unapproved allowance in November 2024, following directives from the National Salaries, Incomes and Wages Commission. Ado Musa, Trust TV News.
No retreat, no surrender.
To security matters now, several terrorists were reportedly killed while 5 soldiers paid the supreme sacrifice on Monday during a fierce encounter with troops of Operation Fonsanyema along the Lilo Gulubal Road in Gusau local government area of Zamfara State. The troops were said to be escorting traders to the Gusau market when a large group of armed bandits ambushed the convoy. The troops engaged the assailants in a gun battle, which led to the killing of several of the terrorists and leaving others with various degrees of injuries. Eyewitness accounts revealed that the attackers had laid an ambush by the roadside when the troops' convoy approached their location and they opened fire. Several injured passengers were rushed to the General Hospital, Kotarkwashi, for medical attention. Reports say bandits, realizing they were losing the battle with the troops, withdrew into their hideouts in the bush. A federal high court sitting in Abuja on Wednesday rejected a bail request application made by 5 suspects who allegedly attacked a Catholic church in Owo Town, Ondo State on June the 5th, 2022, that led to the killing of several worshippers. The court also held that the terrorism charges against the suspects were capital in nature, following their alleged link to Al-Shabaab terrorists, a global terrorist group with their sleeper cell in Kogi State. At the resumed hearing on Wednesday, Justice Emeka Nwite, while dismissing their bail application, held that they were accused of being members of a terrorist organization who may intimidate witnesses, influence and jeopardize the trial of the defendants before the court. Delivering a ruling on the bail application, the judge upheld the arguments of the secret police that the evidence against the alleged terrorists was weighty and cannot be glozed over, adding that the DSS argument that they will jump bail appeared to be true. While granting accelerated trial, Justice Onwite fixed October the 19th for commencement of trial. The Federal Capital Territory FCT Police Command has arrested 71 suspects during the coordinated raid on suspected criminal hideouts and black spots across the territory. The operation, carried out on September the 8th, 2025, simultaneously covered Gwagwalada, Kubwa, Nyanya, Abu, Karmu, Maitama, Mabushi, Dawaki, Galadimawa, Asokoro, Karu, Jikwai, Mpape, Lokogoma, and Utako divisions. According to the police sources, substances suspected to be Indian hemp and other illicit drugs were recovered from the suspects, who are undergoing screening and interrogation, with those found culpable billed to be face prosecution. The mass arrests follow recent reports of criminal activities in parts of the FCT and reflect ongoing efforts by security agencies to address emerging security challenges in the nation's capital. Kogi State Police Command says 3 of its officers were gunned down at a checkpoint in Egbe community in Yagba West local government area of the state. The Kogi State Police Public Relations Officer, PPRO, SP William Aya, confirmed this to newsmen in Lokoja on Wednesday. He added that the incident happened in the early hours of Wednesday in the boundary area between Kogi and Kwara State. According to him, the Kogi State Commissioner of Police, Mila Ntawai, has deployed a police tactical team to comb the areas and arrest the gunmen. The Nigerian Army says its troops have arrested 11 terrorist logistics suppliers and rescued 9 kidnapped victims during nationwide operations conducted within 48 hours. A credible source at the Army headquarters on Tuesday in Abuja said the troops also seized 114 livestock, recovered 1.1 million naira cash, 1 pump-action rifle, 4 cartridges, petroleum products, and other items. According to the sources, troops of 149 Battalion in Gubio, Borno State, arrested 8 suspected logistics suppliers of Boko Haram ISWAPs on September the 7th. Items recovered from them included 28 jerrycans and a drum of petrol concealed in shops and a POS center with 145,000 naira, 510 cash, and 5 mobile phones. Other states where the operations were carried out included Katsina, Ogun, Bayelsa, Edo, and Taraba. Minister of State for Agriculture Aliyu Sabi Abdullahi has underscored the importance of a functional legislature as the foundation of true democracy. Speaking at a one-day capacity building workshop for Senate correspondents in Abuja on Wednesday, Sabi described the legislative arm as the bedrock of any democracy, as it represents the will of the people. The report.
The Agric Minister expressed concern over the persistent misrepresentation of the legislature in media reportage, urging journalists to highlight its critical role accurately.
We are in a democracy to bring about development. And if politics does not engender and promote development, then what do we expect it to serve? So, areas where good things are being done should also be reported. And where there are misconceptions around those, then those new developments should clear away the misconception. Because when the politics is hot and when the heat is too much, it drives away all elements and ingredients that brings about development.
Connecting his remarks to the national agenda, Sabi highlighted ongoing programs aimed at achieving food self-sufficiency, aligning with President Tinubu's Renewed Hope initiative.
So his vision is for us to have food sovereignty. Within the ambit of food security, you go for food sovereignty, which means you are sufficiently producing your commodities or produce yourself, and you are making it available for your citizens in an affordable level and accessible at the same time.
Also at the workshop, Senate spokesperson Yemi Adaramodu emphasized the vital role of the media in democracy and called on parliamentary journalists to uphold high ethical standards and maintain accurate reporting to strengthen public trust in democratic institutions.
On behalf of the Nigerian Senate, I assure you of our continued support and partnership initiatives that enhance openness, accountability, and professionalism in the coverage of legislative works.
Meanwhile, Senator Ita Inang, a former senior special assistant to the late President Muhammadu Buhari on National Assembly matters, stressed the need for training and support for parliamentary journalists to address misinformation and political pressures.
Reporting has been the penchant for the media to give less attention to bills and legislative measures, but rather focus on the soft side of the news from the legislature. Even when the least attention is given to a legislative measure, it is the soft, of course, and indeed the least relevant measure to the bills under consideration.
Without you conveying what happened in the inner chamber or the hollow chambers, the committees, the society will not know what the legislators are doing, and we may not be able to appreciate and at the same time contribute to the development of this country.
The one-day workshop themed parliamentary reporting, issues, challenges and responsibilities aimed to enhance the skills of reporters who cover the Senate to ensure better and more responsible legislative reporting.
The immediate past group managing director of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, Mele Kyari, has on Wednesday evening been interrogated by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, over alleged financial misconduct during his tenure. Sources within the anti-graft agency who spoke on condition of anonymity confirmed that Kyari was at the time of filing this report still at the EFCC headquarters in Abuja. Kyari was reportedly invited by the commission to clarify issues surrounding financial transactions while he was at the helm of the state-owned oil company. The development comes against the backdrop of ongoing investigations into alleged irregularities in the management of billions of dollars earmarked for Nigeria's ailing refineries. Kyari had earlier been placed on EFCC's watch list in connection with $7.2 billion refinery's turnaround maintenance project. In a related development, the Federal High Court in Abuja recently ordered a temporary freezing of 4 bank accounts linked to the former NNPCL chief, pending further investigations into allegations of fraud. This is News Hour on Trust TV. Coming up after the break, motorists groan over delay in driver's license renewal. We'll have more news when we return. Don't go away. Welcome back. If you are just joining us, this is News Hour on Trust TV. Let's take a look at our top stories again. INEC recognizes David Mark-led ADC leadership as Commission warns against early campaigns. Women Affairs Minister faces calls for resignation over staff welfare. Moving on, motorists in Abuja and across Nigeria are expressing frustration over persistent delays in the issuance and renewal of driver's licenses. While some describe the process as stressful, others allege extortion at the licensing centers. Habibat Ajayi has the report.
After biometric capturing, applicants are issued a temporary license valid for just 60 days. But many complain that they had left waiting for several months before receiving the permanent card. In that period, motorists say they face harassment, fines, and even extortion from law enforcement officers. Paul Sampson, a commercial driver in Abuja, says he applied in August 2024, but only received his license in July 2025, nearly a year later.
Although for me, I did my own in the road safety headquarters in Zone 7. The experience was very bad. I did my driver license to avoid embarrassments. At the end, the temporary one they give to me have expired. I went there to collect the original. They say that the network is very bad. 1, 2, 3, almost 9 months. And you know Nigeria police, when they cut, where's your driver license? When you give it to them, they say your driver license is expired. They don't want to even know whether it's temporary or not. So the issue is very bad. They should try to do something about it.
Some transport union leaders also accuse certain FRSC officials of corruption. At Wuse, union leader Wisim Felix alleged that drivers are being forced to pay extra to fast-track their licenses.
I take care of my drivers. You understand me? But my drivers, what they are complaining now, since VIO is out of line, those road safety, we are thinking that they are very educated and they are competent. But right now, they are no more competent. They are no more doing the job because no more competition, no more challenge. That's what they feel. So they do anything they want to do. Even though they have very driving license, some driver may ask for the driving license, they might not get it the right time they're supposed to get it. You give them written note, they will go to another place, they arrest or no arrest, all those things. So all those complaints, I'll be getting it, and I'm worried about it.
But not everyone agrees. Motorist Simeon Edife insists the system works if applicants follow due process, adding that many licenses are abandoned at FRSC offices because motorists fail to collect them.
So there's a day that they bring a bag of license. That is even more than one bag full of license. People didn't come and collect it. So they are doing, at least we cannot accuse government everywhere. Where they are doing good, we let tell them.
Meanwhile, the Federal Road Safety Corps has admitted that there has been a backlog. FCT Sector Commander Felix Elmer attributed the delays to past technical glitches, but says new measures, including an additional printing facility in Lagos, will ease the pressure on Abuja.
Well, as regards the issue of driver's license, everybody knows that the current driver's license uses technology. And prior to the appointment of the current commercial, there had been a backlog because of some technical glitches that we had, both administrative and technical. So, and in fact, it's as a result of the knowledge of the need to improve on the processes of obtaining driver's license that the commercial, when he came newly last year, he had to visit all the where these licenses are produced. And to that effect, he even established a new print farm in Lagos to complement the one that is here in Abuja.
The Corps, while revealing that more than 25,000 licenses remain uncollected in the FCT alone, urged motorists to avoid middlemen and assured that staff found guilty of racketeering will face sanctions. Habibat Ajayi, Trust TV News, Abuja.
The national grid has collapsed again, with generated megawatts dropping from 2,917.83 megawatts to 1.5 megawatts between 11 a.m. and 12 p.m. on Wednesday. Shortly after the collapse, the Nigeria National Grid, on its X handle, provides updates on electricity power distribution, announced that system restoration is in progress. In another tweet, on its X account, it stated that the disco loads of all power distribution companies across the country, aside Ibadan Disco, have come down to 0 megawatts. Confirming the development in a statement, the Abuja Disco assured its customers that efforts are ongoing to stabilize the grid and restore power. According to the company, the outage affected electricity supply across its franchise areas. The People's Democratic Party, PDP, in Adamawa State is intensifying preparations for the 2025 elections, aiming to consolidate its hold at the state level and possibly position itself for the presidency in 2027. Recently, the party convened a high-level stakeholders meeting to chart a way forward and rally members and mobilize them around the challenges ahead. From Yola, Gibson Swadigu reports.
Callers from all 21 local government areas of Adamawa State converge at the banquet hall of the government house in Yola. Discussions focused on strategies to strengthen the PDP and secure victory in the 2027 polls. Governor Manu Fentry cautioned members against manipulating the upcoming ward congresses, warning overly ambitious politicians to place party unity above personal interests.
We're here to ensure the legacy we're leaving behind is to see that the younger ones also occupy very sensitive positions within the state.
So members of the National Assembly dismissed the influence of opposition parties, including the African Democratic Congress, ADC, and downplayed the political weight of former Vice President Atiku Abubakar. They also expressed confidence in Governor Fintry's leadership of the PDP's National Convention Committee.
He left PDP in 2007 when he moved to AC. PDP won Adamawa State. He left PDP in 2015. We came back to 2019 and won election. We don't want to repeat history, but history knew that Atiku Abubakar has never won the state as a candidate since 1999 until 2019. Go and look at history.
As I said, from 1999 to this year, it's more than 24 years. And Atiku has been a very prominent figure. But today, it cannot be the same. It cannot be the same. His time has gone.
For a number of state PDP officials, this could be their final meeting as party leaders, making a turning point for the party's internal politics ahead of the elections. Gibson Soadugo, Trust TV News, Yola.
The House of Representatives Committee on Appropriation has expressed concern over the pace of budget implementation from key ministries, departments, and agencies of government. This, they noted, will hamper development and slow the wheel of progress across different sectors. The report.
After a closed-door session with the Ministers of Finance, Budget and National Planning, the Debt Management Office and the Accountant General of the Federation in Abuja, the committee chairman Abubakar Bichi confirmed that discussion focused on the 2024 and 2025 Appropriation Acts, which however acknowledged the assurance from key finance officials of improved performance before the end of the year.
Basically, members are concerned seriously about that, and Minister of Budget and Minister of Finance also confirmed to us that Nigerians can see a lot of changes and developments for this budget. And Nigerians are really concerned about the budget implementations, which is commanded to the National Assembly. We have engaged with Minister of Finance and Minister of Budget. Both of them acknowledged that, and they've agreed to work so hard so that at least Nigerians can see the progress of the budget.
The Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, reported that implementation of 2024 budgets currently stand at about 80%, with the National Assembly extending its lifespan until December. He explained that priority projects include grassroots infrastructure such as roads and irrigation. Budget and National Planning Minister Abubakar Bagudu stressed the strong working relation between the executive and legislature and said reform under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu are producing results.
It is customary. We reviewed the budget performance, looked at 2024. Basically, overall, it's around 80%. And as you know, the budget for 2024 was extended by the National Assembly till December, so it is still running. So it is still a work in progress, it's still ongoing. And likewise, we looked at what is happening in 2025, and we put heads together to ensure that particularly the projects that touch the grassroots, that provide support and provide resources and facilities.
Of all the achievements under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and they commended the respect for the National Assembly and the excellent working relationship between the federal government, and they stated that they have supported all the major reform initiatives which have produced the result.
Both ministers reaffirmed the federal government's commitment to full and effective implementation of the 2024 and 2025 budgets.
The Qatari Ministry of Interior has dismissed reports claiming that it imposed new visa restrictions on Nigerian passport holders. A ministry official told the BBC Pidgin on Wednesday that there are no restrictions on Nigerians seeking visa to Qatar. Social media reports had alleged that Qatari authorities introduced a travel ban preventing male applicants from entering the country unless they were traveling with their families. The reports also claimed that only women or families could apply for visas, with additional requirements for 5-star hotel booking and a return flight ticket before anyone could apply for a travel or transit visa. However, according to the BBC, Qatar's digital platform for e-visa services clarified that the visa application process remains unchanged. The Nigeria National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPC, has called on international investors to direct their attention to Nigeria and tap into the huge opportunities in the nation's energy sector. Group Chief Executive Officer of the NNPC Limited, Bashir Bayo Ojulari, made the call while fielding questions from NBC's Hala Garani during the Energy Talk segment of the Gastech exhibition and conference currently taking place in Milan, Italy. The GCEO, who commended President Bola Tinubu for improving Nigeria's investment climate and positioning the country as the preferred investment destination for the energy sector in Africa, stressed that the new NNPC Limited management is keen on attaining its set targets towards delivering value to its shareholders. According to him, while a number of investors were already coming into the country with gas-based industries such as petrochemicals and methanol plants, more investments were required to build infrastructure to support the federal government's aspiration to power the nation's transportation sector with compressed natural gas (CNG). The federal government has officially published Nigeria's new tax reform laws into the Government Gazette, marking a historic overhaul of the country's fiscal framework. This was revealed in a statement signed by the personal assistant on special duties to President Tinubu, Kamoruddin Yusuf, on Wednesday. Signed into law by President Bola Tinubu on June 26, 2025, the reforms established a new foundation for taxation, administration, and revenue collection. The four legislations are the Nigeria Tax Act 2025, Nigeria Tax Administration Act 2025, Nigeria Revenue Service Establishment Act 2025, and the Joint Revenue Board Establishment Act 2025. The statement noted that while the implementation timeline for the NTAA takes effect on January 1st, 2026, the NRSEA and JRBEA will be effective from June 26th, 2025. In foreign news, prosecutors at the International Criminal Court on Tuesday began presenting evidence to support charges against fugitive Ugandan rebel leader Joseph Kony at the court's first ever in absentia hearing, alleging he inflicted horrors that still echo 2 decades later. Some Ugandans have expressed support for the opening of the legal proceedings against the rebel leader Joseph Kony, but by the International Criminal Court, ICC. Kony is facing 39 counts of war crimes and crimes against humanity as the fugitive leader of the Lord's Resistance Army, or LRA, which terrorized northern Uganda for decades. The LRA began its attacks in Uganda in the 1980s when Kony sought to overthrow the government. After being pushed out of Uganda, the militia went on to attack villages in Congo, the Central African Republic, and in South Sudan. It was notorious for using child soldiers, mutilating civilians, and enslaving women. Let's now join Joseph Peter for Sports News.
The race to secure a place at the 2026 FIFA World Cup has taken a fresh look following changes to the qualification format introduced by FIFA. With Africa allocated a record 9 direct slots plus a possible additional place via the playoffs, the road to the global showpiece in the United States, Canada, and Mexico promises to be both exciting and intense. Under the new system, the top team in each of Africa's qualifying groups will automatically book a ticket to the World Cup. This guarantees 9 nations from the continent a direct path to the expanded 48-team tournament. However, the drama doesn't end there. The 4 best runner-up from the group stage will be given another lifeline through the CAF playoffs. This phase will be played as a mini knockout competition consisting of 2 semi-finals and a final, all decided by single matches. The ultimate winner of this playoff earns the right to represent Africa in the FIFA Intercontinental Playoff. The Intercontinental stage will see 6 nations from different confederations, including Africa, battle scheduled for the last two World Cup slots. FIFA has added an interesting twist here by allowing the two highest ranked teams among the 6 to be seeded straight into the final. The remaining 4 will face off in the semi-finals, and the winners will join the seeded teams in the final round. The two victors of those decisive ties will punch their tickets to the 2026 FIFA World Cup. For African teams that fall short of topping their groups, this pathway provides renewed hope of qualifying through strong performance in the playoff stages. But with global competition awaiting at the intercontinental level, only the strongest will prevail. The new system, while more demanding, opens the door wider for African representation at global biggest stage and sets up thrilling matchups in the qualification journey to 2026 FIFA World Cup. That's Sport News. I'm Joseph Peter.
And that concludes this Wednesday's edition of News Hour on Trust TV. Do not forget to follow us across all our media platforms and join our YouTube live stream for more news. Thank you for watching. I'm Muhammad Kudo Abubakar.